Uh-oh, a Fox News host is suddenly worried about an authoritarian government. All of a sudden, she understands forced scarcity and cronyism and political prosecutions and attacks on constitutional structures. And I got to tell you, Laura Ingraham describes the entire danger really clearly. The only problem is she says, hey, this is what Democrats might do someday. But Laura, this is what Donald Trump and his administration are doing right now. Listen to this. We know she's talking about Democrats, but just think about what she's saying in the context of the Trump administration right now. She almost gets it.
So Democrats, you got to nip this in the bud now, because if the socialists get a foothold in November, they could end up being the dominant force in the party for the next 40 years. And the end goal, it's clear. Forced scarcity for all, except their friends and their cronies, and then taking a wrecking ball to the constitutional structures that gave them a chance to sell their noxious views.
Right. Laura, you almost have it. An economy structured to benefit the president's friends and allies. We might have that. We have that right now. Using government power to punish your perceived enemies. We have that right now. Going after institutions and courts and universities and media outlets and that you don't like. We have that right now. Turning access to the federal government into a loyalty test. We've got that right now. She's sort of assembled the puzzle and she's got the box in front of her and the picture on the box is of Donald Trump. But she's insisting, no, this puzzle would come together and it would be Democrats, not Donald Trump. Now, this is it's a remarkable feature of Trump propaganda. They often do correctly identify the dangers of authoritarian government, but they identify it as something that the opposition is planning for the future. Trump talks about prosecuting his political enemies all the time, and they're trying to do it. And his administration attacks media orgs, and they pressure private companies, and they target universities, and they treat institutions as illegitimate when they won't submit to him. But Laura Ingraham looks at all of that and goes, just imagine what Democrats could do. And then she arguably gets even more revealing. She goes, they're going to promise prosecutions of Trump and ICE and all of this stuff. Trump's doing that sort of prosecution right now, and not because anybody committed crimes, only for political disagreement.
So as much as Carville and Maher may dislike or distrust Trump, remember the promised prosecutions that they are advocating for, Piker over the weekend. They're going to promise prosecutions of Trump and his family, then ICE officials, anyone who worked for ICE, then the entire system will be put on trial before it's ultimately dismantled. So Democrats, you got to nip this in the bud now, because if the socialists get a foothold in November, they could end up being the dominant force in the party for the next 40 years.
Imagine if someone took power who then started going after people from the previous administration. Now, this sort of reveals the real concern. The concern isn't people in power in general going after political adversaries in general, because if it were, she would be calling out that Donald Trump is doing it right now. Laura Ingraham is worried about what happens to her. She's imagining, man, if Republicans lose power, and the people running the administration currently are held to account for everything they've done, that could hit ICE, that could hit Trump, that could hit me in some world. Now, I actually don't think it will. I don't think there's any interest among Democrats to go after Laura Ingraham for the things that she has said. That's the sort of thing that Donald Trump does. And to be clear, working for ICE doesn't make it so that you're going to get prosecuted. Political prosecutions would be wrong. Guilt by association would be wrong. If Democrats ever proposed prosecuting every ICE employee simply for working there, I would go, that doesn't make any sense. I would be opposed to that. But investigating specific officials for things they've allegedly done, that's not authoritarianism. You're supposed to do that. That's what a justice system does. Going after people simply because they weren't loyal enough to you, which is what Trump is doing, that's not okay. Now, Ingraham is sort of like collapsing two different things. Any investigation of Trump is unfair political persecution, but any accountability of the Trump administration is, they're dismantling the system. It's anarchy. The standard is that Republicans have to be allowed to do whatever they want. And if it is later examined, was that legal what they did? Was that okay? That is the abuse of power. The abuses of power are not abuses of power. Holding them accountable for their abuses of power, that's what they don't want. And notice the assumption beneath the warning. If Democrats win, Trump and his allies may lose the protection that comes from controlling the government. That's what really scares them. Because for years, these are the people who have cheered Trump. He calls for investigations. They go, yeah. He calls for prosecution and punishment of enemies. And, he goes, lock her up. They loved lock her up. They supported the weaponization of government as long as Trump is the one doing the weaponizing and their targets are the people that they don't like. All of a sudden, Laura Ingraham gets why we have neutral institutions, why we have constitutional limits, why we have protection against politicized prosecution. She gets it because now she's going, damn, could they come after me? Could they come after my friends? Could they come after my allies? That is something she can't bring herself to notice when her side is doing it right now. So instead she goes, if they get power, they're going to do this stuff, which is bad. So isn't it bad when your friends and allies are doing it right now, Laura? This is a lot of these people are having these kind of realizations. MAGA Mike Johnson has been having it. Some of the media people have been having it. And now it's Laura Ingraham. I speak for myself and the people I hear from who agree with me. We are not into go lock people up absent evidence, prosecute people simply to suck them dry of money through lawyer fees or no. What I say is let's have neutral institutions that are able to evaluate and bring forward accountability when appropriate. If you've got evidence to charge people, you charge them. If you get a guilty verdict or you get a plea deal, make sure that they are punished in accordance with what the law says. Don't give them a special deal because of who they are. That's the rule of law. That's what I support. That's what I know many in my audience support. Laura, on the other hand, supports one thing when she is on the side that is doing the persecution, and something very different when she is on the side that is potentially going to be held accountable. Appreciate you watching. Stick around for this next video and don't forget to hit subscribe so you actually see our uploads. You can also catch the full podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.